Damien Chazelle's La La Land is full of an impressively long list of classic movie homages.
You could write your own role, something that's as interesting as you are.
Why don't you?
What?
Make a musical.
We're never operating as writers or as creators without considering the past and not being influenced by the past. But our job as creative people is to take those influences and make something fresh and new with it.
In typical romance fashion, when Mia, an aspiring actress, meets Sebastian, a jazz musician, hate at first sight builds into a whirlwind romance. The love story creates an original texture by mixing the sweetly naive old-fashioned musical with unromantic contemporary reality.
Why do you say romantic like it's a dirty word?
Unpaid bills are not romantic.
We open Stuck in Traffic, an allusion to the beginning of Federico Fellini's 8½, a sequence symbolizing Fellini's own artistic block. La La Land's start signals that this love story is also going to be about artists who are struggling to make their dreams happen. Meanwhile, the opening also announces we're not in the glamorized LA of old movie stars. Like in 1993's Falling Down, we're based in the drudgery of daily LA life, sitting in a car. Composer Justin Hurwitz had in mind the opening number of Jacques Demy's Young Girls of Rochefort, built around the same unlikely mix of frustrated drivers and glitzy choreography. The LA setting allows for homages to Rebel Without a Cause, evoking the energy of young romance and the iconic appeal of James Dean.
It's like Rebel Without a Cause, sort of.
I got the bullets!
Yes.
You've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
The movie's essence is Mia's and Seb's song. It's written in a major key, which is bright and fun-sounding, but it has dissonance to suggest regret and longing. The major-minor mix stretches to capture both sadness and elation. The happy, upbeat parts of the score were modeled on iconic musicals like Broadway Melody and Singin' in the Rain. The central melody draws on the melancholy tone of the music in some French New Wave films. Emma Stone's breathy singing voice imitates Audrey Hepburn. Chazelle learned from early musical Love Me Tonight to build sound so that the musical fantasy emerges smoothly, like a, quote, cascade out of the quiet.
Isn't it romantic? My face is glowing. I'm energetic.
City of stars, are you shining just for me?
And La La Land's overall style takes after Jacques Demy's Umbrellas of Cherbourg, another nostalgic story of star-crossed lovers from the French New Wave. In both films, the mildly ridiculous bursting into song is a gateway to profound sadness and modern themes.
Or one more dream that I cannot make true.
Mia's and Seb's Falling in Love dance takes after The Bandwagon and Fred and Ginger in Top Hat.
Is this a lovely day to be caught in the rain?
What a waste of a lovely night.
When Seb swings on the pole, it's a clear shout-out to Singin' in the Rain. And when the couple dances up into the air, we've seen this before in The Belle of New York or Everyone Says I Love You. Chazelle has also talked about Denis Lavant's dance scene in Beau Travail, as one that showed him how dance on screen can express the character's emotions on another level. A few of the camera techniques recall older musicals. The spotlight, cross dissolves, medium-wide shots to show off the choreography, and fast tracks into close-ups that feel almost like zooms. But unlike an old-fashioned musical, Chazelle's uncut moving camera feels fresh and contemporary. We observe from one continuous vantage without cuts, like a person who's really there. Still, this is hardly the first musical to harness the camera's potential as a third dancer. Martin Scorsese has talked about the innovations of choreographer Busby Berkeley in working to the camera's power. Near the end, the fantasy dance sequence asking what if Mia and Seb had stayed together is much like one near the end of An American in Paris. Both express the couple's innermost desires in grand visuals. In La La Land, the couple's first meeting, reimagined with a kiss, represents the emotional openness that, looking back, they realized they could have brought to the relationship. With that commitment, they could have made it work. This use of fantasy to represent something deeper than actual reality again echoes The Bandwagon and other Vincent Minnelli musicals. The musical is known as a genre of escape and fantasy, yet movie musicals were born in the Depression, and some of the greatest musicals let dark and real-world issues enter into the fantasy.
You sent him far away. You shouted, "Hip hooray!" But look at him today.
In speaking to our contemporary disappointments, La La Land channels the old musical's power for using expressive means to comment on reality.
I think the genre is actually much more accessible than it gets credit for, and I think it's much more genuinely emotional than it gets credit for. It's not actually just about escaping from reality. It's about using dreams and using fantasy to comment on reality. What it feels like to fall in love, to have your heart broken, to have a dream, to follow a dream. What it feels like to be human.
La La Land's actual ending echoes the unhappy resolution of a non-musical, Michael Curtiz's Casablanca. The presence of this classic movie haunts La La Land.
What's your Bogart's name? Is it Greg?
Mia sleeps under a giant poster of Ingrid Bergman's face, and on the Warner Brothers lot, she points out the window that Bogey and Bergman look out of in Casablanca. At the end of both movies, the couple speak volumes through looks that wish things were different. But in Casablanca, Rick and Ilsa are forced apart by World War II. In La La Land, the couple breaks up just to give everything to their career dreams.
You gotta give it everything you got.
Years ago, another Curtiz film, the musical My Dream Is Yours, also dealt with this career versus relationship conflict for creative people.
2 careers in one family is one too many. We'll concentrate on mine. Huh?
But La La Land's What If sequence also questions the need for this career-relationship trade-off. The lack of a war-sized problem makes the ending somehow sadder and truer to life. The contemporary romantic tragedy is that there wasn't any good reason they couldn't get the happy ending, they just messed it up. La La Land doesn't just draw from the obvious places. Chazelle even looked at Tuki Buki, a Senegalese drama that also uses vibrant colors to tell a sad story, and many more. All these illusions bring the emotional openness of the old Hollywood musical to modern love.